If you've been learning online business for weeks or months and you still haven't built a funnel, this video is for you. Not because you're lazy, not because you're not smart enough, but because beginners almost always get stuck before they ever start. And today I will explain why. Just to answer this question here that we can see right in front of us on the whiteboard is a very crucial question. Now, in this question, why beginners get stuck before they ever build a funnel? What we're trying to do in today's video is to try to answer this question here for you. And hopefully after this explanation, you'll have a clearer understanding of why beginners get stuck. Section one, I'm trying to break this down in 4 little sections, and hopefully this will make sense as we go along. The first thing, and I've been very guilty of it myself, is what we called the prep state. Now, in this prep state, you will try to mask certain things. You will tell yourself, oh, by me watching a lot of videos, what will happen is I'm learning more stuff. So you tend to binge watch a lot of videos, and normally YouTube or any other social media platform that you're on. Take a lot of notes, and also you buy a lot of stuff. That could be courses, that could be video courses. You tend to overconsume and buy a lot of these things because what you're trying to tell yourself here is, if I'm not prepared enough, I'm actually going to fail. And what you really need to tell yourself, or let's just take one step back, by you staying in this prep state, what you're really telling yourself subconsciously is, I just need to understand the funnels better. I need to understand my better. I need to understand whatever else I'm doing. I just constantly need to understand what I'm doing. So the niche itself that you constantly focus on, and this is a whole topic in itself. Another thing that you say to yourself, and I'm guilty of it myself, I've been doing this a lot myself in the beginning, is, oh, I need a full understanding of the actual software that I'm trying to use before I can actually start. But what you're really doing is you're constantly staying, you're physically and mentally and emotionally, your state is constantly staying in this what I call the prep state. But what you really need to do is you need to take a step back. And before you know it, you will have spent weeks, sometimes months in this state, and actually nothing has been done. So this is a very common problem with beginners. And we will obviously in future videos, we will break it down on how to get out of this state. But let's just move on to the second kind of reasons of why. Another thing that a lot of beginners get stuck with is they get overwhelmed, try too many, and you'll be surprised what this is, choices. So the fact that you have too many choices actually equals to no action. As you can see, a lot of beginners have too many choices. And today we live in a society where we are thrown all these things onto our plate and we have so much choice. It can become overwhelming when you have too many choices, and you can almost become paralyzed by not knowing which way to go, what to choose, and that actually leads to no action. So it's very important that you understand, whenever everything feels important, nothing gets done. It's very important when everything feels important, nothing gets done. So it's almost like the irony. You have to take a step back, and so instead you have to choose something. And most beginners don't act something, so they choose everything. And by choosing everything, you're kind of technically choosing nothing, because you get overwhelmed by too many choices. These choices actually lead to no action. And that, as in the previous section that we had, leads back to constantly preparing yourself in the prep state. And then once you're in the prep state, again, it leads to no action. This is a very common problem. And I, again, guilty of this myself. Let's just jump on to the next section of why beginners get stuck before they ever build a funnel. So in the section 3 is fear, many different forms. It comes in being overwhelmed, people are just confusion, being confused and not knowing what's happening, being overexcited. You disguise it as fear, too happy, yeah, overexcited, and then nothing happens. And then normally, what it actually really disguises it is as some people might say, I like to be a perfectionist. Perfectionism. So perfectionism itself. Let me write this up. So perfection. So perfectionism is one massive disguise where people actually it disguises fear. So you think about it this way: fear of building that you things go wrong. Let's say fear of looking silly, the fear of putting something out there and it doesn't work. So then you say to yourself, I need to make sure it's perfect before I put it out there. Or I need to make sure that all these little whistles and bells are actually working properly before I can process it out and I before I publish it. So these are the kind of things that actually beats your progress. And by not doing this properly is what happen is you will never actually move up the actual steps. You're always going to be stuck at the bottom here and you can't actually move on because it's this that pushes you into this side, that perfectionism. And by not moving forward, it actually keeps you stuck here. The fourth section, let's just clear this board here. The fourth section, which a lot of beginners here tend to struggle with in the fourth section. And the fourth section, this is where a lot of beginners tend to struggle with, is to have a massive misunderstanding. So misunderstanding of what actually funnels are, what a funnel is, what the function of a funnel is. So what a funnel is, the pros and the cons of a funnel, how to the actual starting point of a funnel, how a funnel can help you, what level the funnel should be at, what cycle you should be in, what you should be offering, what you should be doing before the funnel goes live. These are the kind of things that a lot of beginners actually don't really understand, and what your first funnel actually isn't supposed to be covering, well, it's supposed to exist. So let me repeat that back again. Your first funnel isn't supposed to convert well, it's supposed to exist. And what I mean with that is once your funnel is out there, you give yourself the opportunity and the permission to actually progress and keep it updated and keep making things better and better. But if you don't really have a funnel out there, you can never get that feedback back. So clarity comes from after action and not before it. So it's very important to make sure that you get something out there where then you're going to start be able to build upon the feedback that you're getting. A final point, what you actually need as a beginner to move forward is one offer, one funnel, and one goal. And your one goal is very simple, is to go live. It's perfect. You're not aiming for perfection, but you're aiming for action. Okay? You're aiming for action because action leads to clarity and clarity leads to progress. What you're looking for is one offer, one funnel, and one goal, basically to go live. You're not aiming for perfection, you're aiming for action. And as I said, clarity comes from action. Once you take action, you get feedback. Once you get feedback, you can then improve. You just need to get into this cycle of feedback, improvement, feedback, small improvement, and feedback. Because the people who succeed are not the smartest in the world. They're basically faster at shipping or producing or uploading messy first versions. And if you get comfortable uploading messy first versions, you will get feedback, and that feedback will help you to improve and get things better and better. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. If you got any questions, leave them in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.